Hi, I'm Alan Morgan. This is the third video on my channel. The first one was an introduction, the second a relaxation technique that you can use should I talk about or we discuss something that might be a bit raw, just to take the edge off it and help you feel a bit better. This video I'm going to talk about particularly is my job as a civil celebrant. I'm going to talk about the funeral side of a civil celebrant for the moment. I'll come to the rest of it in another few videos. My job, I'm a hypnotherapist as well. I have a music act that I do, and I'm involved with various other things that keep me busy really. But I don't want to sort of get into that for just now. There's plenty of time and plenty more videos to come about those sorts of things. So a civil celebrant, I thought I'd just sort of give you a bit of an insight as to what a celebrant is and what they do, and certainly what I do. My job basically is to arrange and to hold or officiate a funeral ceremony. Now, before I get going about this is just a short video, so don't worry, I'm not going to prattle on forevermore. We've plenty of time to dig into the ins and outs of each item, and I certainly will do that over the next few weeks about each sort of individual thing. Any questions that people might have, or they want to ask anything, then I'll happily answer them in videos in the future. You just need to comment below and I'll certainly answer them. But anyway, this is 2018, and this is the thing, is that we've got to realise the world is changing at a great speed of knots. Nothing is going to wait for any one of us. So things that we take for granted over the years and things that were the same years and years ago are changing. And the same goes for funeral celebrancy. I've been doing this for 3 or 4 years now, and even going back the 3 or 4 years, I've changed my methods, my ways so much since the beginning, and I've had so much more understanding of people since doing this job. Now, one of the biggest things that I get asked and people talk about when I go and visit them is they say, "Alan, oh my goodness, you're much younger than I thought you would. You wouldn't have experienced life much, when I'm talking to older people." Well, thankfully I could probably take that as a compliment. I'm 41 and I've certainly had 41 years of some happy, fun and fantastic times. And I've certainly had 41 years of an awful lot of shit through death, through loss, through all sorts of things that it's been pretty horrendous at times. So I don't think that my own personal feeling is that it doesn't matter your age. If you have empathy, you have got an experience of life that you can bring something special to a ceremony, be it a wedding or a naming ceremony, or in particular we're talking about a funeral. The sad part of this is, as I mentioned in my first video, is that death is going to come to us all, and there's nothing we can do about it. We don't know when it's going to be. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know by what way we're going to leave this earth. And I am very passionate about talking about these sorts of things, because when I visit families and they're in bits, it's not the time to be talking about what mum wanted or what dad would have liked. It's not about any of that, because they're not in the right place for it. And I urge you right now, grab yourself a pen and a bit of paper and write down the kind of things you would like to happen to save your family an awful lot of trouble. Now, thankfully, they have people like me that are here to help, that are here to be able to help them deal with what to do next when it comes to a funeral ceremony. And that's the point of a celebrant. Now, I work differently than most other celebrants because I want to do things differently. I like to break the mould a bit with certain things. And that can go down well, and sometimes it can not go down well with other people in the profession. But I'm not going to apologise for me being unique and doing it my way. So what is a celebrant? A celebrant is an officiant, someone who carries out the ceremony of someone they love, a funeral ceremony. Now that could be at a crematorium where we're cremated. Now I've worked in most of them, in fact, in the area. Also, it involves burials, so it could be at some of the burial sites that are around Dundee and Angus and Perth and so on. And if you go to my website, actually, at the gallery section, you'll find some pictures of some amazing wildlife and nature around some of these sites. I've just taken a bit of a love for photography, not that I know what I'm doing necessarily, but I just like a really good picture and to take a snapshot of what I'm seeing and the kind of things we can look at visually. Anyway, to get back to the point, when it comes to funeral celebrancy, my job is to meet with a family after someone's passed away. So I go and spend 2 or 3 hours, and I don't make an apology about that either. Some celebrants I know spend very little time, under an hour, speaking to a family in order to build a ceremony, and to me it's not adequate enough, it's not enough time. I like to feel empathy, I like to be with my families when I go and see them. I want to understand the person and what they're feeling and what they would like to happen during a ceremony. With a funeral sort of service is what they traditionally called it, I like to call it a ceremony. But when it comes to that, we can do anything we like, and really it's only down to the imagination of the family and for the people. And funeral directors are there to sort of deal with the official parts of it all, but a celebrant's there to deal with more the emotional side and help the family be able to transition between losing someone and saying goodbye. I always encourage a family to do something special, whether they read themselves, whether they speak something, but I don't think it's right to paint someone in a light that's perhaps not who they were. I am at the beck and call of a family, so in other words, that means that if they would like something done a certain way, then I'm going to do it that way. But it's also my job to suggest alternatives that might make it a bit more special, so that it's not like any other funeral that they would have been to. The number of times that I have heard someone say that they've been to funerals and it felt impersonal, that it didn't feel like them, it didn't sound like them. It was the same as something they heard 5 years ago. That's something is further away than I could ever want my families to feel. I want their family to feel like I've done them a great job and that they've got something they can look back in life and go, we did absolutely the right thing. That it was all about that person. And I don't mean necessarily when they were born, their school days or where they worked. And obviously these are integral parts of our life story, which they are. However, the personality traits, the wee intricacies that make someone who they are. I know I've got my wee quirky things that I do that some people might find funny, some people might find very irritating in fact. But when it comes to my funeral, then I want people to tell them who I was and what it was about me that they liked. So when it comes to a funeral ceremony, whether it's at the crematorium or whether it is a burial site, we've got to remember we're there to do one thing, and that's to say goodbye. And obviously that's the most important and it's the most awful thing. However, we've got to do it and we can't get away from the job that we've got to do. That said, it doesn't mean we can't make it special, that we can't make it personal, that we can't do something that really does take that person and capture their character, their personality, their spirit, their whatever it is you want to call it. Saying goodbye to someone is awful, and loss is terrible, grief is horrific. But if we can do the right thing at the ceremony and try and hold it together until that day, then we can look back and with 100% confidence and say we did absolutely the right thing and we did what was right for the person. Now, I don't want to get into religion in any way at the moment. I will probably get into that in some other videos. I am a civil celebrant, which means that anything goes. I don't have a set belief. I don't know what's out here. I don't know what's after this body, this life that we live. I'm not a humanist. People mistakenly call me a humanist, but I'm not a humanist. A humanist is a different thing. A humanist I'll come into in a different video. I don't want to sort of club this one up just now. But a civil celebrant is someone who will do anything from religion, including parts of humanism, although I'm not authorised, let's say, to be a humanist. A humanist, or the humanist society, is very much based on their own set of beliefs and their own set ways of doing things. That's not for here, and that's something that perhaps an expert in humanism will be able to tell you about. But a civil celebrant means that I can take life and everything about that person, whether it was religion, whether we're singing hymns, whether we're doing readings or poetry, or whether we're swearing at the top of our lungs. It doesn't matter with a civil celebrant, because ultimately I'm depicting that person as they truly were. The ceremonies, sadly, don't last very long because we don't get much time to do a ceremony. I suppose the other end of the stick is that how long do we really want to be mourning our loved ones on the day we have to say goodbye to them? How much pain do we want to endure? How much do we want to suffer when we say goodbye to someone? So I suppose there's a double-edged sword there, whether we've got enough time or whether it's too much time. So anyway, the ceremony side of it, after I've went to visit a family and taken a couple of hours, maybe 2 or 3 hours depending on what goes on, we talk about, and I feel the same things the client feels. I feel empathy. Sometimes I get upset. Sometimes we are laughing hysterically about some of the wonderful things that person got up to in their life. After I've dealt with the family, my job then is to go away and spend a few days putting together a ceremony that's truly bespoke, that's unique from anybody else's funeral ceremony. I always run it past the family. They're sent a proof to check that they're happy with how it sounds, how it reads. And I'm not arrogant enough to think that I am an expert and know everything about what I do. What I do know is how to put it all together. But my job is to be the voice of the family, so it's up to them what I say. So we always give a proof reading so that they can check what I've got to say, change the odd word here and there, or if they so wished, although it's never happened yet, but if somebody so wished to change the lot, then well, we change the lot. I always say to a family, I'm only your voice for the words that you can't get. If I can give you the words, then I'll be the voice on the ceremony. So there's a bit of time happens, and I think that when somebody passes away and they've arranged the funeral, so on with the funeral director, they've tried to arrange the finances if there's finance to be done and so on. There's a gap that happens after that happens to the day of the funeral, and there's 7 to 10 days of what can feel like an eternity. When it comes to a celebrant, I think we've got another part of this, which is to be there for the family, to be that person that's holding a flashlight in a very dark room because the family can't see and how and what to feel, but to give them a focus of helping them be able to talk and not feel guilty about laughing about good times. Listen, death is going to happen to us all, and as I said earlier, it could be me tomorrow, it could be a friend of mine 2 weeks from now, it could be a family member of mine, it could be any of us on this planet. There's however many millions and billions of people on this planet, we are all going to die one day. The sad part is we don't know when that's going to be. So I urge you, like I did earlier, take a piece of paper and a pen, write down the music that you'd like played. If it's dancing, topless men, if it's a harp, if it's an orchestra, whatever it is that you want at your funeral ceremony, write it down and tell someone. If you want to tell someone how you felt and what life was like for you, be candid if you like, but give them something to go on. Give me, someone like me, something to go on, so that I can tell your story and make it about you the way you wanted it to. There's a bit of a growing trend actually over in America, whereas people are now starting to write their own eulogies whilst they're still alive. How brilliant is that, to be able to write your story, so that you know exactly, word for word, what's being said at your funeral ceremony. I actually said that to my sister. I said to her, I'm going to record my own funeral ceremony on a camera here so that I don't have to, nobody's got the hassle of having to do what I do, or have to worry about what to say, because I'm going to say all. I've an awful lot to say actually about a lot of things, but I'm not going to talk too much about that today. And she said, oh no, I'm not doing that. She says, I want to talk as well. So other people might want their input into your ceremony as well, and I always encourage that as well. Anyway, I'm waffling a bit now. I need to kind of cut this down now. So ultimately, the whole point of me doing this video is to give you a snapshot of what I do, and to tell you that in a funeral ceremony, you can have what you like. You can have a ceremony, a private ceremony, a cremation, a burial, who's only just you and your single loved ones. You can hire a hotel room and have a great big 3 or 4 hour ceremony if you want, with party, drinks. I mean, it's not appropriate for everyone. But the imagination that you can create nowadays, as I said also at the beginning, this is 2018. We're not in the Victorian times anymore. We can break what's called tradition and do it our own way. I, of course, will do traditional funerals. That's the whole point of me being a civil servant, is to do what you would want. But I'm just giving you a bit of scope to say, hold on, let's have a think out of the box, and how do I make this special for my loved one? Is it the same funeral you've had week after week, month after month, because you're a serial funeral goer and you think, my goodness, I've heard that before. It's just a change of the name or a change of this. You're certainly going to find that with one of my funerals, that's for sure. So, yes, I might be 41, I might be younger than some, but how young or how old does that make you experienced in life? Anyway, I'm going to wrap up now because I need to let you go. I said it would be a short video. I don't want to keep you going for any longer. If you have any questions, if you have anything you want to ask, if you want me to talk about something, drop me a comment. You know what to do. And I hope you've enjoyed this video and you look forward to the next one. I don't know what I'm going to talk about next, but I'm sure I'll come up with that over the next day or two. Thanks for listening. I hope you subscribe and share this because I'd like everybody to hear this. You take care of yourself and thanks again for listening.